Want to just move your mic? Thanks.
Thanks, Kate.
Test, oh, okay, now it is, okay. Turn it on. Please, when you come up, please give your name, your address, and when you're speaking. Okay.
Okay. Greg McMahon, McMahon LaRue Associates, we're the engineers for the project. We also have Representative Tom with the architect and with
Tom Sikelli, with the architect that designed the house.
And I'm Mike Parker from the Arkman.
I'll just give you kind of a brief overview. This project is for ARC of Monroe County. The location is 130 Homewood Lane, which is off of Norton Street, and it's right adjoining 590, the northbound lanes on 590. You've seen it 100 times if you've driven 590. It's actually at the end of the dedicated portion of Homewood Lane. It's an existing facility. The proposal is to demolish the existing facility, which includes about a 4,300 square foot building, a pool, an in-ground pool, deck, and all of the facilities, and construct a new 8-bedroom group home in approximately the same area with associated parking. We have, the existing utilities will be utilized. They're, just for reference, we are reducing the impervious area from 32% to about 29%, so a slight decrease in impervious area. We appeared before we attended the Conservation Board meeting last week and heard their comments, and we'll be incorporating some of those into our plans. They included, as part of this project, we're taking down 9 trees, and we'll be replacing those with at least 9 native species trees, in addition to the foundation plantings and so forth on the site. Again, there's an existing sanitary pump station. We'll be utilizing that pump station with a new lateral. See if there are any other highlights. I think that generally touches upon the scope of the project, and if there's, certainly any questions, we're set to address those.
I'm sorry, is it currently being used for civil? Yep. Okay, so how many people are in there now? There's 9 now, actually, down. So you can go,
Has the fire department seen this yet?
Yes, we had a meeting about 3 months ago. We met with everybody, fire marshal, building inspector, the whole gamut.
And did he have any comments or concerns, or she?
Now, we're required to do sprinklers and full alarm panel and all that stuff. So
The reason I'm asking is, this is a dead-end road. Is there gonna be turnaround for the equipment?
There is an existing turnaround now
Okay.
that'll remain there,
Great.
but we're not eliminating that. As a matter of fact, with the proposed layout, there's there is a bigger, utilizing our parking lot and the front entrance, a truck could completely pull in, or an ambulance pull in and pull back out.
Yeah, and I won't be the one to make the call on that, as long as they didn't have anything
Yeah.
negative to say
No,
about it. How many vehicles are you gonna be storing on the property?
We're providing parking for 2 handicap spaces and, let's see, 12 vehicles, and they would be largely for staff and visitors.
yep, yeah, there's 2 house vehicles.
Okay, and is there vehicles that are gonna be used to transport folks
2.
away from
Yep.
the facility and back to the facility? All right.
Yeah, there's usually 2 house vehicles and then staff.
I'll think of more questions as we go along, Mr. Chair, but
How long have you been there?
I don't know the answer, I can find that out, but I don't know exactly when. We've been there for a really long time. I've been at the Arc for 15 years and
Have you showed this to the neighbors?
there's really only one that's down below us that we don't hear.
So they rent too much?
There's the ones before us are well before us.
Pretty quiet. Yeah, I'm looking at the one, I guess, to the right of the building, right behind it.
The one down below it. They kind of, yeah, we have not shown it to them.
Does that road keep going? There's a
Yeah.
gate there and it
Yes, it
keeps
goes
going?
down into the, like, building. The
It's
house
their,
down behind
it's
it.
their driveway for the neighbor.
Oh, but it's gated.
Yeah.
There's a gate on it?
Yeah, it's way down, if you look at that picture, it's down.
Has that gate ever been open? Or, I mean,
Yeah,
well, I know, but I've never seen it open. I just wondered, what do they open it last
It's like a
every time?
garage door.
Yeah.
So this is a gate to that house. I don't have any other questions except, we had somebody from the Conservation Board. Do you want to go over these just to make sure they got a full understanding of them?
Yeah, I know there's one change because we misunderstood that the impermeable area is actually decreasing.
I saw
Yeah,
that in
yeah.
your minutes, but yes, there's definitely a 3% decrease in impervious, which,
So, yeah, we already talked about at least having 1 tree per tree that's being removed.
Should I ask you to introduce yourself?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my name's Alex.
Sorry?
Alex Parenti. And I live across the street, actually, from this. And then we were wondering whether, because especially it's on the steep slope, whether there could be any installation of a rain garden somewhere on the property, and what effect kind of where there is going to be that undercutting for the existing trees that might have on that tree health and how that's going to be monitored. And then, yeah, what the plan to monitor the anti-siltation measures there on the steep slope, I think.
yeah, the project does fall within a woodlot EPOD, even though the actual site itself would not meet the definition of a woodlot, but certainly to the east. And the steep slope EPOD is also, they're both shown on the plans, but we are not proposing any work in the on the steep slopes. Everything will be within the footprint of where there's currently building and so forth. So, and actually moving with the elimination of the swimming pool and deck, that's eliminating quite a bit of covered area it would be the southeast corner of the parcel, and turning it back into natural lawn area back in there.
And you're not gonna be touching the pines along the expressway, right?
No, nothing on the existing, it's not the existing driveway that transverses will remain as is. We're just working off of that. None of the vegetation along 590 will be touched at all.
And I'm making an assumption that the residents that are currently there are going to be the ones that'll be housed there in the future.
Yep.
Right. Right, my guess is most people wouldn't know what was going on in that property unless you became aware of it, so.
Greg, just a minor comment. For the dumpster location, maybe just take a look at for backing up and being able to make the turn back heading north, but just to make sure you got enough room there.
Yeah, we debated that quite a bit on where, I mean, we had, at one time, we talked about over near the front of the building, which would have, access-wise, would have been a little better, but it wasn't appropriate to locate. You know, we feel that the truck can, it's not a big dumpster, it can back in here, or it can go in here, pick it up, and then back into the entrance and pull back out. And it keeps the dumpster away from the front of the building.
There's probably not a lot of traffic going down that road, so it has time to maneuver
Oh,
if it
yeah,
needs to,
yeah.
so,
No.
just from an operational standpoint.
And with the dumpster too, what's it made out of? Is it fence? Is it
It'd be an
CMU
enclosed, it'd be a fenced enclosure
fence?
with, whatever they choose, whether, you know, 2 small dumpsters for trash and recycling, whatever the facility requires, but it would be enclosed with whether it's a solid vinyl or a board-on-board solid wood fence.
Alex, you said that something changed, you found out it was less. Is it something in this report that changed?
Yeah, the impermeable area, we had said is increasing, but it's actually decreasing.
So would it change any of your recommendations?
I mean, as long as you know, it's still a sufficient plan to, as far as like the drainage plan, then I guess that's the change, is if it's decreasing, then
Then
it should
things,
be fine.
Okay.
Right.
I just have a weird one. On the, I'm looking at 5 of 8 sheet, and you've got roses up against the road in between the driveway and the road. Is that what I'm seeing?
We have, I'm sorry, what up against?
Roses? See, right next to the house or to what will be, I believe, the west?
Is that
It
proposed?
says E6.
Yeah, yes, that appears, I mean, if there's, I didn't do the landscaping, so I can refer that
Probably
back.
won't use roads.
Yeah,
We use very low maintenance landscaping. so
Well, it just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense for a rose to be up against the road.
no, I'll make a note of that, and I think we've got to redo the landscaping plan to incorporate the trees, and I think we'll have to have our people revisit some of these plantings on here.
I was going to say, it kind of just looks like it's similar symbology, but you only call out 6 of them. So I think the intentional ones are the ones that are closest here, but they did use the same symbols. So,
Yeah.
Is there a lighting plan somewhere?
There is one light proposed, and let me, we had lighting contours
Oh, where is it?
shown, and they may not, I'll have to, we'll have to make sure that's updated. We have,
site layout and lighting plan.
My one comment is going to be currently, that is well lit at night, maybe a little too well lit. I'm not sure if it's for security purposes. If it is, we should probably know that. If not, I would like to see less light.
And And that, because that house is kind of funky to get out of right now.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different entrances and
Yep.
exits from the back, from the front. The new layout will make it a lot easier, so we'll just have lighting on the paths.
Okay.
versus The whole house lit up like a tree.
Yeah, I mean, that,
I would agree.
But
okay.
we'll, yeah, we had proposed one moderate, and I'll make sure that that's shown, one moderate pole light just to light the parking.
Do you really need 15 feet to light the parking lot? I mean, it's a residential facility, not a commercial one.
We can, we'll
Yeah,
talk
we can
to,
talk about that. We usually have one light near our like.
I get it,
evacuation
it's gonna
point,
be-
like, where we, our meeting spot for the fire, for the fire deck at night.
Yeah,
Usually a bench that we have out there that we try to put a light post near, but, I mean, if we did that on the side.
I mean, if you're comfortable with just building lighting, we can eliminate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any objection once I see it, but yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that seems, I just, like I said, I can tell you right now,
It's very
it is bright.
Go ahead, John.
One question for staff here regarding the EPOD permit. If down the road, they decided they wanted to do a deck or a patio off what we'll call the back end of the building for, the residents there, would they have to come back in front of this board, or would it be more administrative through the building department for just a permit?
I believe that you would need to come back because I can't recall the exact language, but it's essentially like if there's any disturbance, if it was something that, like, I don't know, maybe like a prefab shed or something like that, where you're just setting it down, likely you wouldn't have to come back for an EPOD, but I think it's sort of the, if there is disturbance. So if they're digging in there and putting in footers or doing those sort of things.
There's this, I believe there's a slope percentage
No,
in
just-
our code.
I'm just thinking, I don't want to, pile on to you guys, if you guys are just trying to get into the ground, but maybe something to consider to show a deck or a patio where if down the road you decide to do it, then potentially maybe you don't have to come back in front of the board, it's just a building permit, just thinking X amount of years down the road for you.
Yeah, we're not planning, we're not putting a door out the back either.
Okay.
Windows across the back, primarily gonna use that front corner as a little bit of a patio type, because our front deck is really big and it's
Okay.
like 24 feet
Yeah.
wide. So more of a sitting area out front.
Okay.
Keeping them away from more of the back.
That- that's-
Hill, it's a pretty big
Yeah.
steep hill back
The
there.
reason was
And,
we
Yeah.
didn't put any doors or
around
anything, was,
that exit off the one side, there's a fence along that side.
Driven down
He's
here.
trying to keep, there isn't a ton of area there that we want to
Okay.
use, so I think using the front patio is.
Just figured you're already in front of us, so just, handle it all as one.
Do you have a dumpster on your front site?
Yes. Where? Next to the house on the right, if you're facing the house, it's on the right.
Where else?
It's on the,
yeah.
So this,
No, I thought that was over there. That's the,
Probably not.
It's right in that driveway there.
right in.
No, that's a shed or whatever.
it's,
we show the driveway, we just don't show
The dumpster in
the,
the driveway, it's
Yeah.
in the driveway to the right of the house.
it's a shed stay.
And you do require a dumpster, it's not like you can go to totes or anything?
It's not enclosed.
It'd probably be a lot more totes. We find that we have, 6 or 7, 8 totes, it kind of gets worse than having a dumpster. For looks and for, with the dumpsters in the corral, we can always keep it together. Totes probably is a good spot.
Well, I mean, for commercial, we usually require the block of a dumpster.
The one that's there now, I think it's just a rolling one.
And that's all we would, same thing, same one.
But you're gonna put a fence around it,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Well, right now it doesn't.
Everybody that comes before us now, commercial wise, we always require a split block because they get beat up. And so forth. And then put the siding on the split block.
And we've done that on some residential stuff Bernie, apartments mostly.
I mean, this would be, I guess this would be considered residential. It's a residential facility.
Right, but we've done it in an apartment, so this is kind of crossing that line. Do you
Yeah,
have any
we had a tough time categorizing. We did recently a couple of them in the town of Greece, and were they residential or were they multifamily? And
Do you have any issue doing this split block? It keeps it, lasts longer.
It's up to you,
Does it make
but,
a difference?
yeah, it's a little bit more money, but it can be done, it's not anything that's.
Probably it's terrible.
And probably in the long run for you, we won't replace it, right?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Depends on the driver, I guess.
Well, it's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Well, if it's up to the driver, then his company will probably
Yeah,
be
so-
replacing it.
I tell you what, why don't we just pull the board, because this kind of falls in the healthy area here, so, I mean, we've done split block, right? When we first said board, I'm thinking it's kind of like, Dan?
Kind of, you're right, it's commercial, but, yeah, I don't feel strongly either way.
Right, we could put the split block and make it look. Side. Go ahead, John.
Since it is residential and more single-family residential, I'd be okay if it was just board-on-board fence, as long as it's solid. That would be the big thing for,
Maintained.
yeah, that'd be the big thing from my end.
I went and looked at the property and it stuck out to me, so somehow enclosed, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
The question is, do you want split block or wood?
I think maybe because it's a more residential, it could be wood, but
More than likely, it's gonna be vinyl,
Yeah.
vinyl.
but definitely enclosed because
Yeah.
it's a standout.
Agree.
Well, especially now that it's closer to the road. too.
Right.
Alan, how do you feel?
I'm not strong on it one way or another. Block seems to me, though, that in the long run would be better for you.
our experience, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, whichever way you go, if you could bring us some detail prior to the next.
There will be a detail on the plan. Our experience has been not so much the enclosure, the fence enclosure, what takes a real beating are the gates.
Gates.
And
Always.
they do require some regular maintenance because the company doesn't necessarily take care of those. The winter time, they get beat up pretty bad, so. But the enclosures themselves, if the fence enclosures if they're put in well, seem to hold up fairly well.
When you said they're not willing to take care of it, who is that?
Oh, I'm saying if whoever generally dumpster enclosures, if they're well-maintained, like in an apartment project where there's maintenance staff, and if a
Yeah,
gate
okay.
gets broken, that's fine. I see some commercial developments where once the gate gets broken, pretty soon they remove it, and then then now you're dealing with, without a gate. But most managed projects that we see maintain that type of equipment.
Whichever way you're going, if you could bring the details.
Well, Board, I'd like to clarify, on page 8 of 8, it does show the concrete pad with the pressure-treated natural wood enclosure. So it's already on sheet 8 of 8. So if the board is going to go with that, it's already there. But if they want something different, then I guess it needs to be updated.
Or if you want to go either way.
Okay, great.
My last piece of advice is I would show the neighbors what you guys are doing, because there's going to be construction equipment there. So they're going to be inconvenienced at some level that this would probably help you with the relationship.
Sure.
See them before you need them.
Any other comments? Any other questions? Michelle, do we have any action?
No, sir. No actions.
No more captions for the applicant. Any actions for the board?
Oh, yes, I have reviewed the Conservation Board comments. Take a look at the dumpster location. If there's enough room to maneuver, we'll be submitting an updated landscaping plan, and then update lighting plan to depict the building lighting versus the pole lighting. Did I miss anything, Board?
I think you got it. Sure.
Just about the landscaping plan, since you mentioned low maintenance, nothing lower maintenance than like all native plants and grasses, right? Because they're meant to live here, so that's all.
And there's a link in the Conservation Board letter to the landscape guidelines.
Yes, I
That-
saw that, yep.
Perfect.
Any questions on your part?
No? We'll be back Monday. Next Monday.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg, any updates can just be emailed to me, since we're meeting within a week. If you get any that you want to send, just email them in a PDF. I'll print them out in 11 by 17 for the board.
I'll turn this over and have somebody get on that tomorrow, and we'll get those to you here by the middle of the week.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Rosemary said she's gonna have it arrested.
I'm looking for a higher handicap. Okay, next case is PB 2024-08-04. Mr. Nola, would you like to come give the board an overview?
You want to make a note that,
Alan's gonna recuse himself.
okay, thank you, for the record.
We still have a quorum, so we're good. Welcome back, it's been a while.
I know. Is that a good spot for the mic? Well, good evening. My name's Mike Nolan from I Square, 400 Bakers Park. Kind of picking up where we left off last September, October with Planning Board. We had a couple of ventures to go resolve. We had to get a variance from the zoning board for the area dedicated to driveway in the front, and then we had to get approval from the DPW for the driveway configuration. Both of those were successful, so we were granted the variance and received approval, or verbal approval, however that goes, from the DPW for the driveway configuration. In addition, we had, while we were working on that, we also addressed the Labella comments and the planning board feedback, and have supplied you with a drawing that should be all-inclusive of all the updates, changes, the feedback from Labella, the planning board, and according to the other agreements with DPW and the zoning board. So I think what you have is kind of a finished version. And I believe that all questions or concerns were addressed in the packet that you have, but certainly open to any other questions or follow-up on that.
So I'm a little bit behind. At one point, I thought we were going to purchase some additional land, go through it,
No, we had to rezone the one property there. Nothing on this particular project required purchasing or selling any of our property. Across the street, further toward Titus Avenue on Lorraine, we still have hopes of buying the two remaining homes there as part of a future expansion, but it's nothing to do with,
no, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the part that you can't build on,
The road. The road?
the road.
Talking about the road?
That got rearranged, and instead they're gonna grant me a 199 permit to work in the right-of-way. And it will still remain right-of-way as it's currently is today.
How the link
Well, we'll take care of the behind the curb, I think, kind of typical, but the, everything from, the roadway, the town will continue to maintain, yes. And the sidewalk.
And then just for the board's knowledge, there was a light that was in the right-of-way that Mike has moved.
Yes?
And what was it, the storm drain?
There was a light there, and,
Catch basin.
Catch basin.
yes, and a catch basin. We've rearranged the storm sewer system in that area and created the storm runoff system off the southeast corner.
I apologize, going back.
Yeah.
You're taking part of the parking lot. right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're putting, you're expanding where you're putting the cottages, correct? Does
Yes.
that change any of the entrance points or anything like that?
No, the entrance point from Lorraine Drive or from Stranahan over will remain. That drive aisle between the two side roads will remain in place, and that would be the boundary of the cottages on the, to the north.
Any other questions?
I know a while ago, Mr. Nolan, there was talk about the wall on the north side and like the differing heights of that. You know, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my mind here what we ended up doing with that. Like, I think we were gonna have it reduced in height as you got closer to Lorraine Drive.
Correct. We were gonna go up to just get past the houses, so the kind of the privacy boundary up through across the front porches. I believe it dropped down at the end of their parking spots in front of their respective apartments. And from there all the way out to the edge of the right-of-way where the wall will end before the right-of-way, or at the right-of-way line. And at that part would be down from 6 feet down to 4 feet.
John, on the grading plan, there's some spot elevations. So you can see it's 394 to 398, so 4 feet closest to the road. And then
There it
it,
is.
yeah, so I would, the grading plan and sediment and erosion control plan.
Sorry, you need to calculate some math to do it right.
Yeah, but luckily it's single digits, yeah.
While we're doing that, when are you looking to start? When are you looking to finish?
I don't have a finish date calculated because we weren't, you know, it's based on when we get approvals and kind of get in line and with some of the contractors for the early season. We've missed a little bit of our window, but I think we'll, you know, certainly the excavation, especially in the parking lot, the removal of that will start right away. I don't have a definitive finish date. We would like to finish them this year, or at least on the exteriors. So we can work on, you know, we can work on the other stuff as the weather goes cold, but on the interior stuff, but we'd really like to have the whole outside roof, siding, doors, windows, all that in, you know, by September.
Just getting back to the wall, Mr. Nolan, you know, just any thought to, you know, you have the wall pretty much perpendicular to Lorraine Drive and going within a couple feet of the right-of-way, and I'm just wondering about if you're exiting your existing parking lot to go north on Lorraine Drive and, you know, just visibility for vehicles coming from the south. So any thought to maybe, instead of going completely perpendicular, like the final, I don't know, call it 10 feet, whatever it is, maybe angle it like on a 45-degree in, like, so it's,
Something to
Back
give
to
a
the-
little more view line.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd be open to, you know, consider either shorten it down, you know,
just go like
just
that.
back a little bit so it's out of, how wide's the, there's still a distance between that and the edge of the road though. I
Yeah.
feel like there's still a good 15 feet from edge of road to where the right-of-way ends. Maybe not that much in that spot. It varies. It's kind of a funny line, but
Yeah, like maybe the final 5 feet, instead of going perpendicular, you're angling it on a 45.
tilt it off or something.
Yeah,
I know DPW had asked me to discuss the line of sight for not to put any heavy plantings to the left of the drive aisle.
It'll help too, like if for people that are utilizing what we'll call like the guest parking up near the road. If they're pulling in and there's traffic coming southbound on Lorraine Drive, then that will help shield it better.
Has the Bella had a chance to look at the submission?
We haven't had a chance to look at the stormwater or the grading. We've done sort of an initial review. Most of the comments have been addressed. I would just say that our largest concerns is just any disturbance to the slope, and that there's, you know, some change from the last iteration that allows for that Unit 43 to have better navigation of the site, but it is adding additional asphalt closer to the slope, and so we'll likely want, well, we'll review it, but we just want to make sure that the slope can handle whatever load is going on there from use, as well as it looks like the light pole was moved from the right-of-way to in between 43 and 45, those units. If you see the turning template for the car on the site plan, it's getting a little bit close to the light there, so potentially maybe moving that back or moving that somewhere just because it's already very tight to come out and then turn.
Right.
And if someone doesn't take the turn hard enough, you got a light pole there, maybe just, you know, move it either maybe in between the structures or further back. But yeah, our biggest concern is just making sure that anything that's done on the site is stable and that we're not going to have any issues with the slope and the grading.
Right. Right, that's the part before it turns steep. Anyway, there's kind of a little lower landing over that way that you can see, but.
Yeah, so we'll have Mary Stebline take a look at the stormwater and the grading.
Got a short week, so we have time to do that before the next week.
I will check with her and her review queue.
Because you're looking to bring this next month.
Yeah, we've been 13 months since originally applying to get this approved. I'm ready to get going.
Any other questions? Just remind us, you're keeping the same look and feel as what you have now?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, same architectural plans from the original 14 units we built across the road there. Similar building materials, siding, roofing, sidewalk configurations, parking. Be very, very similar with the exception of the slope going down in that you have on the other side.
I don't know if there are any questions. I think we just need to,
Yeah, also,
not to put the pressure.
sure, and also confirmation from the Commissioner of DPW that they're fine with work in the right-of-way. I know that it doesn't necessarily mean that the 199 needs to be executed, but just confirmation from Commissioner McGee so that we're not approving something and then she's like,
I do have an email. We have
Oh,
emails.
okay, great.
I'm sorry, and
that's okay.
that's my fault. We have emails going back and forth in regards to it because of when Mike, if you remember when Mike was first here, talked about selling portion of the right-of-way to him, and we went back and forth with the DPW on that, and came to this agreement. So
Okay, great.
I can add those into the record as well. Board, I apologize.
You already got the zoning,
Yes.
Yep.
because we're just waiting for, if you got time to get that completed. Anything else?
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Not that I have. Not that I have, sir. Hence why I. Did you motion to, do we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We move to adjourn.
Made, seconded.
No.